So I believe as we are moving into this new era on this planet and our old systems are crumbling, um, first of all, as I continue to say, it's all good. It is all only happening for our evolution as a species. It has to evolve. Anything based in the old fear and control model is and will crumble. It just will. It cannot sustain because of the point that we're at in our evolution. So it's all about how we choose to look at it. So if we choose to see it from that angle of it's crumbling to make room for us to create something new and not get so caught in the stories, because it can be really easy to get lost in those stories. And as these truths are exposed and we see the way that we were lied to and we've been manipulated and all these things, it can be, and if that makes you angry, I encourage you to move into that anger and express it in safe ways. Express your frustration. It is part of the process. And also see, because if we're able to move through that and be like, okay, yes, this is how I feel. And yes, it's frustrating. And no, if I allow myself to move through it, that is then how I get into a place of being inspired, letting myself be inspired, tapping into my truth and starting to see what I can do in this moment. What can I do to rebuild my inner world in this moment? What can I do to move out of that fear-based? How do I move through those fears? It looks different for everybody. How do I move through those fears? How do I saying everything, speaking everything? We went through so many years and generations of people just holding things in, and we can't do it anymore because the energy of the planet has changed so much, and it will continue to change. All of it, like the eclipses and the solar flares and all that, I just know intuitively that all of that is playing a role in the vibration of our planet rising. And it makes sense because I've been feeling this for a long time. And I felt like, is that just like some woo-woo thing that I'm making up? And then I'm telling you, and we are all intuitive. We are all connected to this pure consciousness. We have just forgotten about it. And we are all at different levels of forgetting. And we have the choice in each moment to continue in stuck patterns or to choose something different. And the more that we choose something different and that's more in alignment with our truth and with love, we will create our reality from that place. The more that we get caught in those stories, and I get it, there was some things, and I believe all of my life was preparation for me to be in the moment that I'm in right now, in the place that I'm in right now. And there were some things that happened, and I believe, I'm not a victim to anything. I am grateful for every challenge that I was presented. But I do believe, some things happened in my life. And I do think that some of these systems played a role in creating some hell in my life. And I believe and know that my soul helped set that up. All of those challenges, all of this is serving humanity. Look at how we've evolved over the years. Look at 1950 compared to now. We can resist it as long as we want. It's just, it will continue to evolve and it will continue to change. Right now, we're in a time of great change and this is all crumbling. The more that we can look at, not get so much caught in the stories. For me, it's like with the stuff happening in my personal life that happened, that I know my intuition has never steered me wrong. It has never been wrong. Sometimes it's 10 years, 15 years later before I'm able to see that confirmation. But I know. So I just rest in knowing, and it doesn't matter because it only built me. I only let it build me. And then when I was able to step into a place of personal empowerment, those things cannot affect me anymore. So it went away. And we have to take on a victim mentality in order to be a victim. And I'm not saying that awful things don't happen to us. Believe me, I have fell victim to many things of this world. And it's just part of the process. If we can start to view it from that angle and see this as more of a game and challenges to move through, because I know in my heart and soul that that's true. The truth is unconditional love, and that is where we all come from, and that is where we all go back to. So this is just a little drop in the eternity that is our existence. So the more I can view it from that angle, then I can see all these things as challenges. And I went down so many rabbit holes with what was happening to me. And I've been able to sit back, and because I know when I let myself move through that frustration and anger, and I let myself move through to the other side of it and live in a moment to moment experience, rebuilding my inner world in this moment, that is my focus, and everything that I can do to build this moment and to be the most authentic expression of myself, the more that I can move into that place. Because when I go down the rabbit holes, I'm not saying that does not play a part, especially as our government and everything is exposed. It's easy to go down the rabbit holes and try to figure out like, oh my gosh, they lied about that. Wait a minute, was it this? And we look at this conspiracy theory and whatever. I find that for me, it doesn't, the conspiracy thing, like I don't need to figure out what it is, because I know that something much larger is in control, the source of all creation, God, whatever. I can see now that is actually in control of all this. So I sit back because I know that the light is taking over this earth right now. And that's the reason all the darkness is being exposed. It's just that we're seeing it. It's not that it's new. It's just exposed. And because it's exposed and it's coming to light, it will clear. So I trust and know, because I just like to compare it to this thing in my personal life, because I feel like I walked through that for that reason, because it is happening on a collective level now. And it's really easy to get angry. And yes, and I don't ever want to say, please don't avoid the anger. Please don't avoid the sadness that lives underneath that. Let those things flow through. Let them clear so that you can be present in this moment and work moment to moment to recreate a new world for yourself, which will then in turn create a new world. That is really the only influence that we have. You know, we cannot control others. And that's the era that we're moving into, is seeing that this idea of power and control, it is a false idea. Like, we cannot control others. The only thing we can control is ourselves. The more we work on ourselves, that works on the way that we either emotionally react to things or do not. It's not just about choosing it in our mind. It's about the more work we do on ourselves and clear and make space for our truth to flow through us, then we can be in that moment to moment experience. And going down the rabbit holes and all that, I'm not making it wrong. I'm just asking you to consider, like, can we trust that it'll be exposed? Because I do. I trust and know. I know in my intuition because it can't exist here anymore. If you look at the things that are run by our government right now, they go to the airport. Let me know how your trip to the airport goes. All of those things, it's because they are, and who cares, Part of me is like, are they doing some of this intentionally? Who cares? Who cares? That's my focus. Like, because all that does is what? Then I develop all these theories and I run them over and over in my mind, and I'm only hurting myself in doing that. I'm only disconnecting myself from my own divine truth by doing that, rather than trusting the universe is much more powerful and we can see that darkness is coming to the light. So can I trust the process? Like, can I sit back and just trust that all of that will be exposed? And the more that I work on that in my moment to moment experience, I am more prepared to deal with when I realize how duped we got, and that doesn't make them wrong. It's just how everything has operated. humanity has played a role in creating that system and then getting lost in our day-to-day. We've just forgotten our truth. And we've just been living in this fear-based way. It is not the truth of our existence. It is that idea of the false matrix. Like, that's what it is. It's this fear-based way that we've been conditioned to operate. And it's all good because it really is. It's changing. And that is really all we can do. And I find that as things crumble, it is important that we, like for me, I've spent a lot of time in solitude, reevaluating my beliefs and letting my beliefs solidify without being clouded by what other people think. And from that place of listening within, rather than listening to my mind. So like meditation really, especially like in the beginning, like a really like regular and going deeper into my meditation practice really helped me slow down enough to start reevaluating all this stuff. And I do think that's important because the lies will continue to be exposed and we can go down the rabbit holes and go, oh, and get all angry. All that does is give more power, more our personal, authentic empowerment. It gives it away by being stuck in that state of getting wronged, if that makes sense. So when we can move beyond that and out of that victim mentality, we can step into our own self-empowerment. And that really is the answer to, nobody can come in and force everyone to change the world. There's been people trying to do that for a long time. And like, look at what's, like it doesn't work and it's not where we're at anymore. So we've got to like look in the mirror, and that's really where it all starts. And our circle of influence is actually a lot greater than we think, especially when our power is centered in that unconditional love, when it's centered from that spiritual, or at least from that spirit place that we are all expressions of. It's true power. It doesn't need anyone to be below. So it is authentic power. And that personal empowerment, that I believe that's what we're moving into. We're moving into working together in order for us all to become more personally empowered and, like having reign over our own lives, being the main character in our own lives, and, really taking, not taking control, surrendering to that process and listening from within and listening to that rather than thinking that we have to, because it can feel overwhelming when we look at it from a mind-centered, ego-centered, fear-centered place. It feels impossible. And it feels impossible in the way that our systems have been created because we can't come in and control all this. It's not going to work. So that leaves it on us, each individually, to do the work on ourselves and to rebuild our lives in that way, and to let the right things be attracted into our lives, and to and then rebuild our world in that way. And then that becomes the inspiration for other things to, as everything crumbles and it's lying in the rubble, then we can build new things, new systems where our earth can thrive, where we can all thrive. And it really is kind of a socialist idea, but let me tell you, I feel like up to this point, anyone that has the socialist ideas that I've heard of, at least, it's based in the government coming in and redistributing our money and everything like that. And we want to be connected. And and the reason I could never get down with any socialist views is because I've just known that is a corrupt system. I don't trust them to come in and reallocate our money and do it in a way that is, how much more proof do we need that they're not doing that? That they're not, that the amount of things that our tax dollars have gone to and all that, it's all being exposed, and all these secret programs and all these things so that they can have that false sense of power and control. In order for them to be able to have that type of power and control, we have to believe that we are not powerful, and we are not. And so that's why stepping into that personal empowerment so that it unplugs the power from that system, and it's already falling. All the darkness is coming to the light. And the reason, it's because we all played a role in, and it was just, we're trying to get through day to day. We didn't do anything wrong, but we all played a role in just letting that system get way too powerful. And anyone who's been in a very powerful position or has built their external world in a big way that can be honest will tell you that, like, it's never enough. And that's what creates, I believe, all of the, the child sex trafficking and all of that crazy stuff that happens is, I believe, because when we're seeking that power externally, it will never be enough. So then we need the next thing to feel more powerful, to feel more dominating, to feel like we are dominating over others. It's never enough. Anything of this world is never enough. We can never gain enough. We can never gain enough power. But that power that we're seeking already lives within us. It's already there. It's here now. It's here right now. We've just forgotten about it. And we've just got a lot of mental blocks and fears that keep us disconnected from it. So the more we can do to tap into that, and that is long lasting. It is eternal. It goes on forever. So that's all I have to share.